Everyone, so if you're a student in Canada and you're trying to extend your study permit because you have extended your degree or you need a couple more months or a year to finish your degree, then this video is for you. My study permit extension and TRV have been approved, so I'm going through the exact steps to show you what worked for me. So we're gonna go on IRCC. You will see a page like this, and you could go to Visit Canada and then go into IRCC sign into your existing account, go to study permit, and then go into, well, I typically sign in through my sign partner, but you can do whichever way that suits you. Once you've signed in, you will see the terms and conditions. Read through it and then you can accept them. So after you've accepted the terms and conditions, you will see a page like this. Then you should apply to come to Canada. And then you can ignore this and go into visitor visa, study or work permit. And then for this you would put study. What would you like to do in Canada? Study. How long are you planning to Canada? Temporary, more than 6 months. Select the code that matches yours in the passport. I'm gonna do India. And then what is your current territory of residence? So if you're doing this form from Canada, which should be the case, then you should do Canada. Nope, I do not have a family member who is a citizen of Canada. And then put your date of birth. So once you answer the questions and you read this page, you would select this, that I meet an exception from submitting a provincial or territorial attestation letter. And that's because if you're not changing your learning institution, meaning your university, college, or even also your degree, then you don't need to submit this letter. So you would just say that you're an exception. But then if you are changing your institution or your degree, then you would select the first option. You would move forward to the next step. Nope, not a resident of the United States. Student. Nope. If you're in the same university, then and you decide to remain in there, then you should always select no. Which province is the one that you will be spending the most time in, or typically the one of your learning institution, then you would select that one. Okay, now that you're here, you will click on the study permit, and then once your study permit's approved, which might take a few weeks, then you'll apply for your TRV, your temporary resident visa. After this part, press continue, and that will take you to the next step. And then for this, select no, because you're not accompanying any family member who is in Canada. No. Then you would say, and you would check your initial study permit and select when it expires. Then press next, which brings you to the next step. So if you fall in one of these categories, like a health science worker or any of these, then you would select yes. But since I'm not in one of these categories, I'm going to select no and move forward. Nope. No, you're not giving anyone access to your application. Yes, because when you were arriving in Canada, you probably had to do your biometrics, and hopefully if that's within the past 10 years, then you would select yes, and you wouldn't have to go again for biometrics. Yes, you will be paying the fees because you will be submitting this application online. Yes, so you will be scanning all the documents to make a copy. Yeah, you will use a credit card. Yes. Recheck all your information and then move forward. This brings us to the last major part of this application, and which starts with the IMM 5709 form that you're going to do. It's pretty straightforward and you can add your details. Then there's the PAL or TAL form. You only have to do that if you are changing your degree or like your major or your learning institution, meaning your university or college, as you can see there. If not, then you can submit a different letter there, which I'm going to provide you an example of. And you would need a letter of acceptance or enrollment from your university, so you could ask your university for that, and then a passport picture of the first page and the last page of your passport, then your financial support and digital photo of your from your passport. And there are certain dimensions and a format for the passport photo of the image of your face, and you can just use a website online to kind of match that format, and you will definitely find it. And you won't have to do the optional documents, but you could do client information just by explaining more on why you want your study permit extension. And you won't have to do IM 5257 because if you're doing this application from Canada, then it shouldn't be a problem. So let's start with the IMM form that we have to do. This form is 6 pages, and you need Adobe for it. So yeah, download Adobe, and I'm not gonna go through all the details because it's pretty straightforward, and I don't want to go over my details. But I have used this form before and I did get my study permit extension, so it definitely works. It's pretty straightforward. You need to put your passport information and answer a lot of other questions, as you can see over here. And then once you're done doing the whole form and signing your date and the name at the bottom, then you just go back up to the form and press validate, and it should work. And if there's any errors, they will flag it out for you and you can fix it. And once there's no errors, you can validate the form and save it, and then you can upload. Once that's validated, you can upload it to the IRCC website on your application. So even if you don't need the PAL or TAL form, you still need to submit it because it's a required section in the document. So you can just explain why you're applying for the extension. So I used this format and it worked for me with the date, the name, and the full address, then the title, and then the name, UCI. Your UCI is on your previous study permit on the top. After that, you can attach the letter of acceptance or letter of enrollment that you got from your university that you had requested for. Then you can submit your passport picture, and I would say that you need to combine your first and last page of your passport picture into one and upload it. Then for the digital photo, you can use any online converter for the right format and upload it onto IRCC. Then for the proof of means of financial support, you will be attaching a lot of documents, so you need to combine them into one PDF when you submit it. So you can attach yours or your family, anyone who's supporting your tuition fees. You can add their bank statements for the past 6 months in reverse order. So from the past 6 months, if it's like August right now, then you would attach like from July on the top and then June and so forth, right? Yeah, and you can attach anything if you want to be even more thorough. You could attach like maybe property papers or investment portfolios for the same 6 months or 3 months to be more thorough. But yeah, that should work, and you can attach it in order. You can even add, which I would highly suggest, you could add like a front cover page where, hey, I've attached all the financial evidence, number one, two, three, one being this, number 2 being investments, number 3 being this. So that just makes your evidence more thorough and it helps out with your application. Now that we're done with that part, we can move on to the optional documents. So you could add a client information PDF form, and you can use the same header format as the PAL or TAL form with the date and then your name and etc. And then you can explain why you're extending your study permit. I would definitely suggest rephrasing that document, and you could attach more documents for evidence, such as maybe if you're extending it due to a co-op, you can attach your co-op enrollment form with your university, so it shows that it's because of co-op or something like any other reason. You can definitely attach it here or in your PAL and TAL form PDF to show and strengthen your application. I would highly suggest keeping all the formats of your documents consistent. Then you can finally move on and pay for your application, which is $150. That's about it, and I hope this helps a lot. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. Thank you for watching.